A teenage mastermind, a fake investment empire, and over $1 million vanished into thin air. At just 17 years old, Cole Bartiromo wasn't just pretending to be rich. He was convincing the internet he'd unlocked the secret to doubling your money overnight. His name, Cole Bartiromo. The scheme, so outrageous and bold, it fooled over 1,000 people and pulled in a fortune that would make Wall Street brokers jealous. But here's the twist. He wasn't some seasoned con man or corporate raider. He was just a teenager with a dial-up modem and a dream to cheat the system. Through a fake investment site, flashy posts in online message boards, and a confidence so unshakable, you'd think he was the next Warren Buffett. But how far did the scam go? How much money did he really take? And how did a high school kid nearly crash an entire corner of the online investing world without even leaving his bedroom? This is the story of one of the most notorious teen scammers in American history. And trust me, you'll want to see how it ends. Section 1. Who was Cole Bartiromo? Cole Bartiromo grew up in Mission Viejo, California, a safe suburban neighborhood just miles from the beaches of Orange County. His father was a former minor league baseball player turned car salesman. His mother worked in retail. From the outside, it looked like the all-American upbringing. But Cole had ambition, or perhaps more accurately, obsession. He was fascinated by money, not just making it, but controlling it. Even as a young teen, he'd day trade stocks, dive into Yahoo Finance chat rooms, and brag about his knowledge of the markets. He idolized financial giants like Warren Buffett and Jordan Belfort. But unlike Buffett, Cole didn't want to wait decades to get rich. And unlike Belfort, he didn't need a Wall Street office. By 2001, at just 17 years old, Cole wasn't satisfied watching stocks rise and fall. He wanted to rig the game himself. He began studying marketing tricks, domain hosting, and website design. His DIY knowledge, paired with a natural gift for persuasion, laid the groundwork for what would become one of the earliest major financial scams of the internet age. Section 2. The Scam. Invest Better, 2001. Cole launched a website called Invest Better 2001, or IB 2001. The premise was simple, but deceptive. He claimed he had a secret method to predict stock movements using insider tips and market manipulation. He promised investors double, or even triple, their money back within days. No banks, no paperwork, just wire the money and wait for the magic. It was classic Ponzi scheme structure, but online. He used money from new investors to pay off earlier ones, creating the illusion of success. Some received double returns, which only fueled the buzz. On Yahoo message boards, Bartiromo posed as satisfied investors, using fake aliases to post testimonials like, "Cole turned my $500 into $2,000 in 48 hours. He even used flashy graphics, countdown timers, and a fake legal disclaimer to make the site look more legitimate. He didn't just use one message board. He flooded multiple financial forums, building trust and urgency. He'd even fake debates with himself under different usernames to create buzz and counter skeptics. It was primitive yet effective manipulation. Section 3. Technical Tactics and Online Seduction. Unlike modern-day crypto scams, Cole's operation was surprisingly simple. No blockchain, no advanced malware. His weapon? Social engineering and hype. He knew how to tap into the psychology of online investors, especially during the dot-com boom, when everyone wanted in on the next big thing. His posts were timed around market dips, his language mimicked real investors, and he exploited the early 2000s lack of internet literacy. No one expected a teenager to be behind the keyboard. In fact, many investors assumed he was a broker or insider trader. Some even begged him for more tips. The illusion of scarcity, fake testimonials, and Cole's own relentless posting drove traffic and cash flow. IB 2001 gained notoriety fast, and so did Cole. Eventually, he began making appearances in chat rooms under his real name, treating himself like a market messiah. His ego wasn't just part of the brand, it was the brand. Section 4. The Crackdown. By late 2001, the SEC began investigating. Complaints were piling up. People were losing their savings, some investing thousands. In January 2002, the SEC filed civil charges, freezing Cole's assets and ordering him to stop all operations. He was ultimately charged with securities fraud and wire fraud. But here's where things took a turn. Because he was a minor, Cole was prosecuted in juvenile court. He didn't face the same penalties as an adult. Instead of prison, he was placed under house arrest, banned from trading, and later served just 33 months in a federal prison camp after violating probation. Millions scammed, and less than 3 years served. The public reaction? Mixed. Some called him a genius, others called him a sociopath. The media loved it. Dr. Phil, NBC, and Money Track all featured his story. He became infamous, a teenage outlaw in a business suit. But behind the headlines, hundreds of victims were left reeling. Some elderly, some disabled, all betrayed by a teenager who had never even stepped foot in a brokerage office. According to SEC filings and composite court records, one common story involves a 68-year-old retired postal worker from Ohio who had been saving for her granddaughter's college tuition. When she stumbled on Bartiromo's site, she thought she'd found her miracle. She wired in $10,000. She never saw a cent of it again. Another story, again drawn from public records and typical complaints, described a man with early onset Parkinson's who hoped the returns could help him afford long-term care. His loss? Nearly $25,000. These weren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. These were lives, hopes, gone with the click of a button. The damage wasn't just financial, it was psychological. Many victims reported trust issues for years afterward, saying they avoided any form of investing, fearing it was all just another scam in disguise. For some, it wasn't just about the money, it was about betrayal. One investor said in a court statement, "I thought he was a genius. I didn't know he was just a kid." But honestly, that's what made it worse. And while those victims grieved quietly, Cole, he was making TV appearances, Dr. Phil, Dateline, Money Track, and in every interview, he wore that same smirk. When asked whether he felt guilty, Cole shrugged and said, "Not really. People should have known better." He wasn't apologizing, he was bragging. Section 5. Inside Cole's mind. So what drove him? According to interviews, Cole claimed he did it out of boredom and curiosity. He once said, "I just wanted to see if I could. I didn't think it would get that big." But behind the casual tone was a calculated manipulator. Experts analyzing his case noted narcissistic traits, a hunger for admiration, and deep insecurity masked by financial bravado. He wasn't in it just for the money. He wanted recognition. He wanted to be feared, admired, envied. Psychologists speculate that his obsession with public image and control may have stemmed from childhood pressures to succeed, especially with a competitive, performance-driven father. And like many other young cybercriminals, such as Graham Clark or Arian Kurtaj, Cole operated in a digital world that blurred consequence and fantasy. When your victims are just usernames, it's easy to forget they're real people. But deep down, Cole wasn't some evil genius. He was a kid playing God in a world that wasn't ready for someone like him. Section 6. Aftermath and Legacy. After his release, Cole Bartiromo mostly faded from the headlines. He returned to California, kept a low profile, and attempted to rehabilitate his image. But in a bizarre twist, he re-emerged years later running sketchy YouTube channels and offering sports betting advice. Some argue he never truly left the grift. Others believe he's just a cautionary tale. His case was even referenced in cybersecurity conferences as an early warning about youth-led digital fraud. But Cole's story remains unique because he didn't need sophisticated tools. He scammed Wall Street with charm, HTML, and a modem. Even today, his case is studied by cybersecurity analysts, educators, and law enforcement as a pivotal example of the dangers of online anonymity mixed with adolescent ambition. So what does Cole Bartiromo teach us? That the next financial predator isn't always a Wall Street executive. Sometimes it's a bored teenager with a dial-up connection and a thirst for power. That charisma can be more dangerous than code. That fraud doesn't always wear a suit. It sometimes wears a hoodie and types from a bedroom. And that in the age of the internet, trust is the most valuable currency of all. Cole claimed to be a millionaire at 17. But here's the real question. Did he ever stop being one? Because once you've tasted power, once you've learned how easy it is to make people believe what they want to believe, how do you ever go back to normal life? And just when you think the story ends, it starts to rhyme. Cole pops back up, running a sketchy YouTube channel and promising guaranteed wins on sports betting. Just like before, he offered unrealistic returns, built trust with hype, and made himself look like a genius outsider with secret knowledge. A new scheme, a new platform, but the same old tactics, the same old Cole. If you found this story fascinating, hit like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments, who should we cover next?